What is up, basketball fans, and welcome back to Zero Gravity, Apollo Media's NBA podcast, brought to you by J Bar M Barbecue. J Bar M Barbecue is just a couple blocks away from Toyota Center. We love J Bar M. We're going to be there during the Rockets playoff series. It's going to be a blast. Head to J Bar M Barbecue today to get the best barbecue in Houston. Shout out to Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. I get it at Target. You can get it at the liquor store. You can kind of get it anywhere. Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. And shout out to Big City Wings, Houston's Wing Joint, Apollo's Wing Joint. Go check them out today if you're in the Houston area. They got 14 locations. Chances are, if you're in Houston, you're near Big City Wings. Today, we're going to talk some basketball. We watched four awful play-in games with one kind of close game at the end there. Just a disaster all around. We've got Rockets versus Golden State Warriors in round one. Can Josh and the boys exercise their demons of the past? And Nico Harrison is in the news for the Dallas Mavericks. So we'll get into all of that on today's episode of Zero Gravity, Apollo Media's NBA podcast. I'm your host, Stone Strankman, joined always by Josh Garcia. How we doing, bud?
My brother, you are so good at what you do. Thank you for hyping me and the viewers up. I'm scared. I can't talk myself into the way like how you can into playoff scenarios, whatever. You pre-show you were like, I don't know, we could beat the Thunder.
I don't know, Jim.
We could beat the Thunder. I would strive to have your optimism in my life.
It's a curse.
Knowing that we're facing the Warriors, we'll get to that in a minute. But wow, I am scared. That is not a good gift from the Easter Bunny. But all the experts are against us, and surely that won't lead to disaster for them, right? I don't know.
Who's to say?
That's
Who's to say? Let's get these East play-in games out of the way as quickly as possible. The Heat just destroyed the Bulls. No problems there. Heat culture standing on its head once again in the play-in.
That's right.
Gotta love it. And the Magic just killed the Hawks. It wasn't even really a contest. Trae Young got tossed from the game. It was just neither game was entertaining in any way, shape, or form.
No. We had a Davion Mitchell. I sent our message to the group chat. I said, his bag size is bigger than a purse. He's got a tote bag now. So Davion Mitchell, shout out to you. He had a really fun and electric couple moments there in the second half. I was like, oh, this guy's putting up floaters and crossing people over. Where was this in Sacramento? Not that they, Sacramento deserves a guard. I mean, now they deserve a guard, but back then, it's a totally different ball game. Davion Mitchell is as a Miami Heat. Wow, this is just another level of the Heat culture that we've come to know and love, right? I'm sure you're smiling ear to ear, Stone.
It's like I don't ever understand it. This team stinks out loud, and the Bulls are not very good. I understand that. They are better than the Heat. They are objectively a better basketball team. They got creamed out there.
They are a basketball team. The Heat are some level of something that we've never seen before. They're like created in a lab, and of course, Tyler Hero being the white boy of all white boys. If he leads them to another finals appearance, could be white boy of the year next year. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Heat fans were saying online on the Twitter.com, Bubble Hero back. Bubble Hero, he's back. He looked great. The Bulls did not. That's pretty much all I got from that game. I watched 2 quarters and I said, I'm good.
Nope, no more. Quick tidbit though, Tyler Hero started 8 for 8 that game, and he was just having a good time out there. I don't know if Bam Adebayo got my 15 and 15 threshold that I gave him, but they won the damn game. So that's nice. Sure.
Yeah.
That's all I got on the East, or at least on that matchup.
Yeah, the Magic, they are just longer and bigger and play better defense than the Hawks, basically. Outside of Dyson Daniels, our Dyson Daniels. People forget.
Dyson. That's right.
People forget. But yeah, Trae Young got tossed for what I believe was a no call on a foul, and he got pissed off and he got double tagged. He was out of there. So stinker of a game. That was like a 20-point game almost immediately. Like the first quarter, I was like, ooh. Yep. Turned it on with like 8 minutes left, I think, in the first quarter. I was like, this is already bad. It's 4 minutes into the game. And got to halftime, and I said, no thanks. Closed the laptop, called it a day. Didn't need any of that on my screen.
No, I didn't know who was on the call, but whoever was the head honcho of the call, they said, we're getting vintage Gary Trent tonight. So at that point, I had to turn the TV off. Turn his TV off. Had to.
I'm glad I didn't have the volume up for that, because
I heard that. It was disgusting. But no, I mean, of course, we're gonna try our best to get the Dyson Daniels the stalker nickname, because of course Sheldon with the Amenitentiary for Amen Thompson.
That's a good one.
Wow. That's really good.
That was his name that he came up with for sure.
He came up
100%.
with that himself. Yes. And nobody else on the internet. Nope. That was all him. So
all Shelly Noor.
we are great minds here at Apollo HOU. And that's just another example to, put the icing on the cake.
Absolutely.
Let's stop talking about the East now. I'm done.
Yeah, West. Golden State played Memphis. Memphis is all sorts of bad. They were like second in the West there for a hot minute. And then I think, let's listen to Wendy's podcast, The Hoop Collective, and they said some stat where they haven't beat a Western Conference team over 500 since like the first week of January this year.
Nope.
Okay.
Not bad. Nope.
Not bad. They fired their coach with about 10 games left or 8 games left. Called that a day. Jenkins, you're out of there, bud. John Morant rolls his ankle late in the game. Just a disastrous season from Memphis where they appeared to be really good in the beginning of the season. I know that is schedule-based where they didn't play a lot of really good teams. And then the second half of the season, they played all of the really good teams. So not ideal. I get that. You took advantage of your early schedule. So kudos to you guys. But your team is just not that good. And John Morant might want to put his house up for sale. I don't know. I feel like that's going to be happening this offseason.
Wow.
Him and Zion. I think both of them. You just go ahead and put that puppy on the market, and you just go find a high-rise building to go live in for a few months until it's time.
Someone did a really good, I think it was Nuggets, Pacers, and one other team. Oh, the Pelicans, obviously. For Zion, Pascal Siakam, a couple other crazy pieces. I want to say it was a 10-player trade. I'd have to look it back up on Twitter, but it was fully successful and it looked great for all teams. I know Christian Braun was involved in that situation, and I was like, you know what, Zion Williamson going to Indiana. Ooh, I don't know. That whole team kind of is one of those. You got to look at it from a collective unit perspective. You can't look at it individual player or like individual vibe based on the city. You have to look at it and be like, oh, Tyrese Halliburton's fun, Pascal Siakam's fun, Miles Turner. Seasoned vet at this rate, and getting
deadline warrior,
getting Zion Williamson in that mix, baby. Ooh, Maron. That would be a fun situation over there, and it would just make the East more of a cool situation. I don't know. Same thing with Ja, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, mixtape, aka Third Time's a Charm nowadays, with Coley Mick and Tyler IM from Twitter. Delightful podcast. I was listening to them. I was hitting balls on the driving range as my workout the other day. I was listening to them, and they were like, "Should we get Zion to Texas?" And one of the guys was like, "No, isn't he addicted to bigger women?" Like, isn't that like, no, we don't need that. And the other guy, I think it was Tyler, was like, maybe it's like exposure therapy.
Exposure therapy. Oh no, rejection therapy. He keeps doing it over and over and over, and has to take no for an answer.
We're 10 minutes into this. Pornhub is banned in Texas, so
no, sorry, we're not 10 minits in yet. PORN HUB. Yeah,
sorry, YouTube.
No, Zion Williamson. I don't know him in Dallas. Just and I hate to say this,
it's his favorite away city. He said it multiple times.
It seems right. We've had this conversation before. And, I don't see him playing with Wemby. I definitely don't see him playing in Houston. It'd be cool. Like, I would welcome it with halfway extended arms.
See our point guard now?
You know what?
We have every big man on the planet.
hey, you got Najee Marshall. He can play 5 positions. Anthony Davis offensively can play 5 positions. And sometimes defensively too. The Texas basketball is back, baby. Congratulations on your play-in win. You, buddy. If you beat. Let's put it all out on the table here. If you beat,
want to go through this.
If you beat the Memphis Grizzlies, what are we doing the parade yesterday or tomorrow?
Okay, so bear with me, listeners and viewers on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We were recording Clean Sheet of Ice today, our Texas hockey podcast, talking about the Dallas Stars. And before the podcast, we always do a little bit of banter before, just like we do on this podcast. And he was like, "Your Mavs," and I was like, "I don't know, dude. I didn't fully watch the game, so I don't know. But if we beat Memphis, I'm talking myself into beating Oklahoma City. 3-0 without Luka Doncic and with PJ Washington this season against Oklahoma City. No AD on that team yet. I think Lively missed 2 or 3 of those games. Like, we're too big, too strong. We have no point guard. We have no one to guard SGA. No problem. Mavs in 6 against Oklahoma City. And now we're getting into Conspiracy Bill situation here. So bear with me. Conspiracy Bill Simmons is out. Mavs, Rockets, round 2. Battle of Texas. That would break up this podcast, but we'll bear through it. It'll be fine. Mavs win that one because, of course, they do. They move on to the Western Conference Finals against none other than Luka Doncic and the Los Angeles Lakers. Could you imagine if the NBA just like started rigging all of this just to make this happen? And
fuck it.
Fuck it. Let's do it. Because the storylines, I don't want to live through that. The storylines of that 7-game series. I just don't. But Conspiracy Bill is out. So NBA wants ratings. There's your ratings, buddy. There they are. They're going to boost by 25% just in the Western Conference Finals, just because of Luka versus Dallas.
Wow.
And I couldn't talk myself out of it necessarily. I now am seeing the errors of my ways.
Mm-hmm.
Conspiracy Bill. That was Conspiracy Bill. Coming back down to earth. I do think we have a shot at OKC. I think it'd be a lot closer than people think. It would not be a 4-game sweep like it will be with Memphis. However, we have no point guard. Brandon Williams, hell of a job. You're doing a great job, buddy. Love you to death.
That's the Deshaun Nix of Dallas. Every team needs a guy like that. Hey, Deshaun Nix had some good games there. Let's pump the brakes, buddy.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, but the Mavs, they just killed the Kings. The first quarter was just dreadful. AD was bitching for calls the whole time. It was very reminiscent of my last superstar to play in Dallas. Very frustrating, missing shots, asking for foul calls, not getting them. But Najee Marshall knocked down 2 threes back-to-back. Brandon Williams comes in. He's just hitting threes. Klay Thompson, second quarter, 5 for 5 from three-point land. It was just like a magical thing because we couldn't beat the Kings in the regular season. All 3 games, losses, one of them in overtime that I went to. It was abysmal. Could not want this game less than I did. I did not want to win. I just wanted a lottery pick. But here we are. And I'm talking myself into Conspiracy Bill. That's where we're at. The Mavs move on to the second play-in game against Memphis on Friday night. The Heat will play the Hawks in the Eastern Conference matchup on the play-in Friday night. I probably won't be watching that. I've got to mentally prepare myself for the Dallas Stars and Colorado Avalanche series Saturday night. I don't think I can take more basketball into my brain before then.
Well, think about how much fun you had. Was it last season? Of course, it was last season when the Stars and the Mavericks were kind of in that mix to win anything and everything. It's really too damn bad that we are in, like I said, kind of July talks, but it is mid-April. I think that it is a testament to your mental strength that you can even think of things like this. I'm still in shock that you can even get from point A to point B. About that Thunder Mavs talk, but wow, if you're a believer, I'm a follower. If you were a leader, I'm a follower as well.
I was telling Dom earlier today, I was like, I can't do what I did last summer. I just can't because it was every night. There was a Stars game one night, and there was a Mavs game the next night for 3 rounds, and then 4 for the finals. My body, my heart, my mind cannot take that again. So Mavericks, do me a favor. I only need one team to worry about at one time. Can't do both at the same time again this year because I was let down so hard by both teams at the most important times of the season. And I don't think I can do that again. So Mavs, just do me a favor. Get the lottery pick. Hopefully you move up for the first time in franchise history in the lottery. Call it a day.
Well, Cooper Flag is, more available than ever, some are saying. Nobody's saying that. But anything's possible.
We could do the Pelicans with Zion where they had like a 1 or 2% chance and they got the number 1 overall pick. We could do that, right?
Sure. So can the Rockets. 4%. So double our chances there. How funny would it be? Trade Anthony Davis and 3 or however many first round picks you have to whoever gets the number 1 pick. Boom, Cooper Flag in Dallas. Kind of like a reverse Uno situation.
Well, I like that. However, I think we would only have 2 first-round picks to trade because Nico Harrison has traded everything from 27 to 30, swaps included. So we have no first-round picks during that time. So that's going to be tough. But before we get to talk about Nico, let's talk about your Houston Rockets, our Houston Rockets. I did jump on the bandwagon after this Nico press conference, and now I'm hopping back off. I got my math to worry about for one more game, and then hopefully that's over, and then I can hop back on the bandwagon. Speaking of your Rockets, we have H-Town versus everyone. New edition, Rockets edition, coming out this weekend at Pitch 25. We're going to the WrestleMania events. We're doing Saturday, Sunday, watch parties there. There's going to be 1,000+ people there, packed in that bar. It's going to be a blast. WWE, I believe. I don't know. I'm not a wrestling guy, but WrestleMania.
It's called WWE.
There it is. WWE. WrestleMania. It's going to be a blast. Pitch 25. We're going to have the shirts in person for you to purchase. It's pretty similar to the last one that we just did with the Astros. They sell out quick. We sold out, I don't know, less than an hour last time. So make sure you get there early. Make sure you get your Rockets tee for the playoffs. It's going to be a blast. There's 6 shirts. I think they're better than the Astros ones, and I'm a Mavs fan. So Rockets, Golden State, exercise those demons, Josh. Let's hear it.
I think that let's start with the X factor. Sure. Of course, we can point at Amen Thompson. We can point at Alperen Şengün. We can point at Jalen Green with multiple fingers, two fingers, finger guns. The X factor in the series is going to be Jabari Smith Jr. And I know that's kind of out of left field. Nobody's talking about it. But him in that power forward position, him potentially being on Draymond Green, I don't know if it's going to be Şengün or kind of a rotational situation. I think Jabari Smith Jr. being in that situation and just popping off, having a couple 20-point nights, having a couple 22, 18 with, very efficient stats all around. I think that can really lead the team to just almost not just victory, but an understanding of one another. And Jalen Green can sit here and score 30 points all night. We talked about this pre-show where if he scores more than I think it's 30 points or 31 points, we're 10-0. He can do this all day. But of course, that's not going to happen every game. He's only done it 12, 13 times this season. Yeah. So, we're not going to get that every night, and that's okay.
You only need 4.
Sure. Score 30 points 4 times. Win in a sweep. I don't care. Do something. But Jabari Smith Jr. actually playing in this series and being one of those guys that can just, I don't know, take that leap. I just have a weird feeling, first real postseason experience for all the guys besides, of course, Fred, Steven Adams, and the veterans, Jeff Green, of course. I don't know, man. We can sit here and talk about the core 4, whoever we want to talk about, but Jabari Smith Jr. just gets left out of a lot of those conversations, and Alperen Şengün all day being kind of rattled, like how he was last game. Of course, we ended up winning that game, thank goodness, at Chase Center, Oracle, whatever you want to call it. Sure. I surely think that Golden State Warrior fans will be getting in our players' heads. I think that playing on the road, not only there, but really anywhere in a playoff atmosphere, is going to be deathly terrifying for this Houston Rockets team. It's all going to come down to consistency, making your free throws. We're I think it's the worst free throw shooting team in the league. They're 73%. And they did a graphic with completely has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but the wall at the Intuit Dome with the LA Clippers, it actually has a real effect on shooting percentages. Who would have thought? If you put 1/10 of a European football atmosphere into an NBA arena, that it actually pays dividends. So thank you, Steve Ballmer, I guess. But back to our Rockets. I'm ecstatic that we could, woo that get back a motherfucker. Get our get back when it comes to the Golden State Warriors. It's been 4 heartbreaking series. And of course, we don't want to include the first one. It was 4-1. It wasn't close. Yeah. But every other series, man, that was scary times. So, in a totally different situation, totally different team with both sides. Steph Curry being, how old is he? 36. Obviously, he plays like he's a guard. He plays like a guard. He can do this until he's 40. I guarantee it. You're not getting the same Steph Curry. You're not getting the same Draymond Green. However, you're getting just kind of weird situations. Kuminga, you're getting Podziemski. You're getting Moses Moody. Sometimes you're getting Moses Moody. Totally different situation. Definitely way worse. Way worse teams or team that they've had in the past. But it can still be a huge factor to, how we want to play our game. And I just think a lot of these games are going to be slugfest. I'm tired. I'm scared. And hopefully it's a good, like I said, a good gift from the Easter Bunny, us taking the game 1 here at home at Toyota Center. I cannot wait.
Yeah. Do y'all play Sunday night, 8:30?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll be watching. I'll tune in. I'll do
Thanks, man.
Tune in. I don't have any stars that night. I'll tune in. Fuck
Love
it.
it.
What am
Thank
I
you.
going to do?
Thank you.
You mentioned Jabari on Draymond. Why wouldn't you put Jabari on Jimmy? Dylan Brooks on Draymond. Amin on Steph. You kind of got everybody out of the way there.
Sure.
Or
Sure.
you can put Şengün on Green because Draymond doesn't shoot threes well at all or shoot at all anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like you can kind of just hide Şengün on him. And then you got your other defenders doing everything else for you. You can kind of alternate Jimmy.
Maybe
matchups.
who would it be? Jabari Smith on maybe Kuminga or just Alp straight up playing on Draymond as well. I don't hate that at all, but I'm very like I said,
because they're not going to play Kuminga and Butler at the same time. That's
true.
Very apparent with Steve Kerr. He just has no desire to do that. So you don't really have to worry about both of them at the same time, which is a good thing. And then you can kind of mess around with Steph. Like you can put Jabari on him sometimes. You can put Dylan Brooks on him sometimes. You can put Amin on him for majority of the time. Like,
please God,
if Amin is holding that guy to 3 points, it's 4 games. Like they're not winning a game if Steph Curry is only scoring 3 points a game. That's not going to happen. Let's just make that a caveat there. Like Steph Curry's going to get his at some point, but Amin Thompson is a menace to society. He could stop him most nights, and it could be a really short series if that happens. But it is absolutely Steph Curry in the playoffs, so I'm going to assume that there's a couple of games in there where he just gets his, and it is what it is. But it's going to be a fun series, especially for Rockets fans, just because a lot of history with this team and some of the players on the team, and you can exercise those demons, which is huge.
That's all we can hope for. Fred VanVleet being the noted Warrior killer, even though, of course, that team was very injured and that was a not great finals.
Mm-hmm.
He's beat him before, so that's got to count for something, right?
Something, yeah. I mean, I had to exercise demons last year in round 1. The Clippers.
Yep.
Those 2 series with young Luka, like 21 and 22 years old, like battles. Just he's putting up 40. He's hitting game winners. He's doing all these things, and we couldn't win the series, and it was terrifying. And then Kawhi got hurt, and we couldn't win those games, but we won the games with Kawhi. So very confusing, but it's fun. It's a fun matchup, especially for NBA fans like that have been watching for the last decade. Like this is a very prominent playoff series that we've had in our lives for a 5-year period, basically. Like we had it almost every year. Western Conference Finals, round 2, like you had it all the time. So I think it's cool that it's a new generation of Rockets doing it, and then a different version of Golden State doing it with Steph and Draymond. And then now you add Jimmy Butler into the mix. There's going to be a fight at some point.
I don't want to go this X Factor route and have that be my only caveat from this entire thing, but Quentin Post, he's just a fun guy. I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to be the crazy X Factor when it comes to the Warriors, but it made me think a little more. I'm like, if I'm going a little outlandish and saying Jabari Smith Jr. could be the X Factor, I'm not going to say that Quentin Post will. But when I seen that white man shoot that ball, that's a scary sight. Adrian Peterson, when I seen him throw that ball, yeah, of course.
All right.
Yeah, you get the idea. I'm really interested, regardless, to see who. This is last time we played each other was 7 years ago, 8 years ago, or 7 years ago. So it's it's a lot of things that changed around the league, not only just around the league, but with the teams and with everybody's situation. But of course, the core situation in Golden State is still pretty much there. Of course, with the new face like Jimmy Butler, and again, shout out Play and Clay, 25 points last night. That was awesome.
He did something.
Man, congratulations to you, Stone. But in regards to me, I'm as terrified as can be, but more confident than I have been in recent years. Well, not recent years, but since the times we've played Golden State before, I'm like, oh, this is a challenge, but it's a different challenge, and it's not a challenge we can't overcome. And again, face our demons, exercise our demons.
Yeah. Speaking of confidence, this is the most confident man in the world. I'm more than Trump, more than anyone, more than Kim Jong-un. Like he has terrorized the city of Dallas. Nico Harrison. Welcome back to the limelight, Nico Harrison. You've been hiding in the shadows and the tunnels over the last few months. And obviously, Nico, he traded Luka to the Lakers. Mavs fan haven't recovered. They may never recover, and I understand that. However, he did a press conference. Was that yesterday, day before, Tuesday maybe? Did a closed-door press conference with about 15 reporters, hand-selected and invited to that press conference. There were no cameras allowed, no recording devices allowed until the 12th hour. They walked in there and everyone's like, we're going to record this. And he budged. So you can negotiate with Nico Harrison 2 times. So Nico held this press conference, and it was also with the new CEO, who was the CEO of the Warriors, who's trying to get a new stadium and all those. He took over apparently for the first half of the press conference. Nico didn't really say anything. This guy, I can't remember his name. I don't care to know his name. I don't care to know anyone's name in this regime anymore. But took over. He compared the Luka trade to how the Warriors fans reacted when they traded Monte Ellis for Andrew Bogut. That happened. And then Nico finally got to take over. And someone else that I've hated for multiple years at this point, Tim McMahon. Welcome to the good graces of Stone Strangman, because holy hell. You basically asked him why he hasn't been fired with all of these other firings in the NBA after non-successful seasons and bad decisions, and head coaches and GMs are getting fired left and right before the season even ended. Are you not afraid of this? And Nico just right out of the gates, that was the first question asked, which was incredible. Why are you not fired yet? Basically, is what he said. He said defense wins championships, I believe 9 times throughout his how many ever minutes that he spoke and answered questions. He never gave an answer that made any sense. Tim McMahon asked him the question twice because he said, can you repeat that, after a long-winded question, but said the exact same thing again. And he basically answered with defense wins championships and did not answer to what his logic was with the trade or anything. Championships, I'm doing the best thing for the Mavericks. Yada, yada, yada. I think Tim Cato asked him a question about the Caleb Martin, Quentin Grimes trade. Nico. He said that obviously Quentin Grimes was a free agent at the end of the year. They couldn't get a deal done. They were looking for control and a different style of player. They thought Caleb Martin fit that build, I guess, under team control and whatever style of play that they're looking for, while Quentin Grimes is scoring 30, 40, 50 all the time in Philly. I know he has the keys, but it's different. He's younger, better at basketball. And he gave up a second-round pick in that trade. And he basically answered that and was like, yeah, I don't need to answer to Mavericks fans or anyone else. I'm doing for what's in the best interest of the Dallas Mavericks. I don't care what Dirk thinks. I don't care what the Mavericks think. And I'm doing what's in the best interest of the Dallas Mavericks. And that is where it lost. Pretty much everyone that had any morsel of hope to be a Mavericks fan, gone. When he calls out Dirk and he says it's not about him, it is not about the fans, it is about the Dallas Mavericks. You know what the Dallas Mavericks are? It is Dirk Nowitzki and the fans. The only reason that the Dallas Mavericks are still here is because of Dirk Nowitzki. The 21 years that he played here, Mark Cuban keeping him here, regardless of how bad the team was and all the things. You got the one championship, you lost one other in 2006, and he is the reason that this team is still here. If it weren't for Dirk, it's probably not in Dallas anymore. You probably don't have this team because the team never becomes anything. Because remember the 90s? They stunk out loud. And then Dirk Nowitzki shows up, Steve Nash. Then you go through the runs and you go to the 2 finals, and it's all good. You got this incredibly loyal fan base that wants to go to games and wants to cheer on this team. And Nico Harrison is making it near impossible for that to happen. Tim McMahon has a piece coming out whenever the Mavericks get eliminated, if that ever happens, about how Dirk and Mark Cuban have been shoved out of the organization, essentially. Mark Cuban owns 27% of the Dallas Mavericks, mind you. Still owns 27%. It's been shoved out of the organization, essentially. He still gets his courtside seats, and that's about it. Dirk, not invited to games all the time anymore. He's not around the organization in any way, shape, or form anymore. They don't care to have him around. I am thrilled to read that whenever they get eliminated, because that is going to eliminate so many Mavs fans from being Mavs fans for the rest of time. This is just not going to happen. And Nico having this closed-door press conference with hand-selected reporters screams bitch all over the place, hiding in the tunnel during the games when they're chanting Fire Nico and AAC. Screams bitch. You're sitting soundly in your seat in Sacramento, up in the stands. You're having a ball up there watching this team win. And you're like, see, they're good. They're not. They're not as good as they were last year. Plain and simple. You got worse as a basketball team because you let go of one of a generational talents. Nico Harrison is not going to get fired. The owner doesn't know anything, and he's not going to fire him. And Jason Kidd's not going to get fired because the owner doesn't know anything, and the GM loves Jason Kidd. So it's like we're stuck in this position where we have to watch this basketball team that we did not have our team anymore. Luka was our team, and I love Kyrie and I love some of the other guys. Like I love this team, but it's the magic. Obviously, Luka magic is gone, and the luster, like just the love of this team is dwindled so much for me and a lot of Mavericks fans because of this one guy's decision to blow it up. And it's hard to recover from that, but the press conference was just a whole bunch of defense wins championships and non-answers. And I think it's just the most bitch-made thing ever. If you're going to make this trade, show your face everywhere. I don't care if you're getting fired, Nico. I don't care if you're getting drinks thrown on you. You have to show face. And he refuses to do that because it was a closed-door press conference, and he has not had a press conference since the day after the trade in Cleveland, where local reporters could not get to on a 12-hour notice. Ridiculous.
I'm so sorry. I would just like to read an excerpt from this article, and we kind of mentioned it briefly. But of course, the tweet says, "This exchange between Nico and Tim McMahon is something out of an SNL skit." Of course, I'm sure you've seen it. But Tim McMahon just, being as candid as can be, it almost feels like in a good way fan first, not in like a, oh, why didn't you put my favorite player in? But like a, why'd you fuck my life up? Why did you completely tear my life apart? So Tim McMahon says, in your own words, you created a 3 to 4 year time frame in building a finals team, a team which went to the finals last season. You gave up your first round capital control for 27, 28, 29, and 30. So that's 3 to 4 years. You're out on your first round draft capital. How is that a logical decision? Explain the logic of that for the long-term best interest of this franchise. Nico Harrison says, "Can you repeat that?"
Yeah.
He proceeds, Tim McMahon proceeds to ask pretty much the same question again, but even in somehow more detail, literally almost remembers it, word for word, which is incredibly talented. Nico Harrison says, "I keep saying the same thing, but defense wins championships." Just a sentence right after. "I believe that we have a championship caliber team." Who are we kidding here? Not only for now, but for the future. Obviously, the future will hold if I'm right or wrong, and ultimately, we're going to be held to the standard of wins and losses, and every executive in every field is going to be held to that same standard. It doesn't feel like that's the case at all, because if every executive was held to that same standard, you would have been gone the day you made that trade. I don't know what kind of world. People have not even talked about Rob Pelinka and Nico Harrison being damn near best friends anyway. They went to that little diner or that little cafe. Was it before or right after the trade? I don't remember.
Coffee shop a month before.
Oh my God. What are
they worked on it for a month.
This is the biggest form of not only sports collusion, sports malpractice, whatever you want to call it, life malpractice. We are still talking about this with the same vigor, the same anger, the same upsetness that we have been talking about it for 2 months prior. And I can't even imagine how you feel. Like you were in this situation, and I can only look from an outsider looking in, like, oh shit, this is incomparable to anything, or not even close to Herschel Walker. This is like this is
the Louisiana purchase. $15 million for half of our country back in the 1700s.
In this case, in this case, it's half the county, because no one's a fan of the Dallas Mavericks anymore.
It's still unbelievable to this day that it even happened, and I ended up talking myself into the new team, obviously, because I'm a fan of the team, and I was like,
Brandon Williams, shout out,
Kyrie and AD, like that's not bad. We get Lively and Gafford back, like all right. 2.5 quarters, I was like, man, we might be pretty fucking nice. And I don't like it as much as I did, but pretty nice nonetheless. I could deal with this. And then AD gets hurt, and then Gafford gets hurt, and then Kyrie tears his ACL, and I'm just like, okay, it's over. Like there's just like, you went through 27 different grieving processes with just Luka leaving, and then you added another 27 on top of that with all of the injuries that happened. It's just like unbelievable how the series of events happened post-trade with all of the injuries, because we already had all of the injuries beforehand. And Lively was already out. Gafford, you lose a month in after the trade, because I went to that game where he got hurt. Kyrie tears his ACL a couple weeks later, and it's just like, I don't even know how I want to root for all those guys. Love Derek Lively. Love Daniel Gafford. Love PJ Washington. They brought me so much joy last year. So much joy. And they've only been here for a year at this point. It's like they're a blast to watch. And this team is built around Luka Doncic, Najee Marshall, Klay Thompson. Like, you added all these pieces in the offseason. You got rid of some pieces to make this team a little bit better. Quentin Grimes. Like, all of these guys you brought in to build around one guy. And you're like, you know what I'm going to do? Get rid of the guy. And not put him on open market at all. Like, I don't, and they zeroed in on AD and not like, I don't know, like 2-time defensive player of the year, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Like, could have done that. Anthony Edwards. Like, you could have just put him around.
Anybody besides maybe Jokic. That's
yeah.
it.
Like, there's literally very little, like, Steph Curry and LeBron.
And you pick Anthony fucking Davis. You pick Anthony Davis.
And he's an incredible player. He's an incredible basketball player, but he's always hurt. So being hurt and then relying on defense is like not a recipe for success. You maybe next year Kyrie comes back in January, like Shams is reporting. Like, it's possible that he's back in January, February timeframe next year, which would be incredible that he make it back that fast at that age from multiple injuries, especially with him. Would be sick. Would be great. And maybe that happens next year and you got a whole healthy team. All the big men are good. You add some pieces in the free agency. Maybe it's Kevin Durant in a trade. Like, do all of these things and all of a sudden this team looks really good. And if they go on a run, they go to the finals in the next 3 years, Nico Harrison's going to be like, see, I was right. But the problem is it's like no one wanted that. Everyone wanted that with Luka. And if he never won, Mavs fans would have been happy that they had 15 to 20 years of Luka. Same thing with Dirk. They would have been happy that they had 15 to 20 years of Dirk. And it was the same thing. He got his one chip, and his one chip means the same amount, I would argue, as Steph Curry's 4 with Golden State. Like, that's how meaningful Dirk was to this organization. That's how meaningful Luka was going to be to this organization, and he's just gone. Dirk doesn't matter to the organization anymore. The fans don't matter to the organization anymore, and it's just like, it's hard to root for this team because of all the off the court things. And then they get on the court and I'm like, yeah, I love these guys. Like, I want them to win basketball games. I want them to play well. I want them to go into the playoffs. I want them to go beat OKC. I want them to do all these things. And then every day that they don't have a game, I'm just like, I hate this team. I don't want to root for them ever. It's the most mind-boggling thing that I'm dealing with right now in sports. And I have injuries all over the place for the Dallas Stars, and we're heading into round 1, and we're like the second best team in the West or third best team in the West, and we get shafted with the hardest team to play in the playoffs, and Colorado's like, I'm more worried about that. But this team is just like incredibly depressing, but also really fun and to root for at the same time. It's so weird to just be a Mavericks fan right now.
It's incomparable. You have dealt with the season from hell, and you've said it in your own words throughout the entire season.
Since the first injury.
You to go through all of that, of course, and be in a kind of a weaker bottom 9 and 10 of the Western Conference, and be blessed enough to be in the play-in.
Sure.
The fact that you made it there after all that has happened. I don't care that Anthony Davis is on your team. I don't care that he's what has he played 5-6 games as a Maverick now.
It feels like it. Yeah.
I the fact that you made it there, that's something. I think that. And again, you can't even compare anything. I imagine, like I said, when the day after this happened, I was like, imagine they traded, James Harden in 2017 or 2018. My entire life would be what
for
fuck?
Draymond Green. That's what you're doing.
My
essentially.
Oh my god,
that's what you were doing essentially. Like, you're trading for a guy that's a defensive player of the year caliber guy. I guess AD at the time was the same thing, but like.
But still, the point still stands.
The age is the thing there. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I
don't. Yeah, it's all good.
Enjoy. Okay, look. Enjoy this Grizzlies game. God willing. Look now, and at this point,
it's gonna be a gross game of basketball.
It's gonna be really bad. Hey, Ja 40 bomb incoming. Anthony Davis 40 bomb incoming. Brandon Williams off the bench 15. Sure. Let's have fun out there. Let's have a good time. Oh, man. This is basketball, isn't it? It is. Wow. We were getting a little emotions there. Wow, was
impressive. That's what basketball does to you. You ever watch KD in Court of Gold on Netflix from this past summer? Yeah.
You ever watch KD in the strip club practicing, or sorry, the normal club, not the strip club, practicing his jump shot?
Yeah.
This is basketball.
That's what we do it for. That's why we league pass. Yeah, just season from hell. And objectively, this is going to be a very good basketball team next year when Kyrie comes back because you just don't have any guards right now. But objectively, it's a very good basketball team. And objectively, sure, they could go to the finals. Like, theoretically, if everyone's healthy, this team could go to the finals.
The Brooklyn Nets could go to the finals next season.
All right. That's not the right comparison because we do have AD and Kyrie. Like, we have two superstars. Like, you could objectively
the Phoenix
go to
Suns the Phoenix Suns could make it to the finals.
The fact that this team that we had 7 players available at most times for several weeks there, and we didn't have to forfeit a game at any moment in time, and just somehow beat the Phoenix Suns out of the play-in, where they had a full healthy season for the most part. I know KD missed a few weeks.
They sucked.
That is objectively hilarious from my point of view because I hate the Phoenix Suns. That we were better than them, and we had 7 active players for weeks at a time.
That was,
and none of which were Kyrie, AD, KD, Devin Booker. Like, all of these players are in that list. They had their guys. We had no guys, and we were winning games, and they couldn't.
They had like 4 guys, and the rest of them were just random creative players outside of Bol. Like I told you,
and that's what the Mavs were. That was the craziest thing.
Listen, the Mavs guys just got hard. Suns guys, I don't know. I saw it in person. The guys didn't give a fuck. They just seemed like they didn't give a fuck.
Doctors out.
This was bad. Even Bol. God spare me, and God, I love you, Bol. But man was just camping in the corner all game. There was no swag, no setups, no nothing, no plays. It felt like there was no plays. It boiled. It just made me so upset. But shout out to you. Your Dallas Mavericks just being in this position anyway. Again, I don't care that the 9 and 10 are a little weaker this season. That still matters. Like this all matters. I don't care outside of the Luka trade and everything. This is unprecedented. And the fact that we can talk with this much emotion and this much vigor behind our words. I am 2 months later. I'm still just wow.
Mavs in 6, Rockets in 7.
Sure. Can't forget the Texas shootout in round 2.
Yeah. We'll be back on Sunday to recap a couple of the first round games that happen. Obviously, your Rockets play at 8:30, so we'll try to get done before then. We'll have Shelly Knorr back, get the 3-man weave going. We won't be able to talk about Rockets game 1, but we'll talk about the rest of the game 1s for the most part, and should be fun. We got playoff basketball to talk about for the next couple months, and that is exciting to me. I'm hoping Nico Harrison never does another press conference, so I don't have to do that again. That was a rough 25 minutes. Yeah, Godspeed to your Rockets this weekend. Go to Pitch 25 if you're into wrestling, WWE in Houston. It's big time. Got T-shirts for the Rockets at that
great
party Saturday and Sunday.
Great shirts.
Impeccable. Shout out to you, Josh, for a lot of the pointers, and shout out to Josh Hill for creating it and going to take all the pictures and making it from scratch. They're going to be stellar shirts. I think it's my favorite one that we've done so far. So go get them at Pitch 25 this weekend for WrestleMania. Shout out to J-Bar M. J-Bar M Barbecue is just a couple blocks away from Toyota Center. We'll be there next week probably to do a watch party at J-Bar M. Great drinks, best barbecue in town, J-Bar M Barbecue. Shout out to Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. I love Zing Zang. You love Zing Zang. Zinger Zang. Zang responsibly. Shout out to Big City Wings, Houston's Wing Joint, Paul's Wing Joint. We'll be back very, very soon. Another episode of Zero Gravity, Apollo Media's NBA podcast.